Yes, a beautiful Monday morning to you from the studios of iPower 102.7 FM. The program you're on to is In the Papers, and it's a program of a preview and review newspaper headlines to your listening for your listening pleasure. I am Inioluwa Adekoya, and with me on the program this morning is
Florence Ibarima.
And today I've got with me the Old newspaper, the Punch newspaper, the Premium Times newspaper, and the Daily Post newspaper. We also have
stories from the Hope newspaper this morning, and we have stories from the Punch newspaper. We have stories from Daily Post newspaper.
Yes, right about now we will take a short break. When we get back, we will give you a list of headlines this morning. Yes, glad to have you back. The program you're on to, like we said earlier, is In the Papers, coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. Beginning on the top of the list of our headlines this morning,
we have stories from the Hope newspaper, and the headline says APC rolls out schedule for activities ahead of National Convention.
Still on the Herb newspaper, talking Kwara. Kwara residents flee to Niger after terrorist attack.
Still taking headlines from the Hope newspaper this morning, we have early rains, not planting signal. Expert warns Ondo farmers.
Still on the Herb newspaper, Odigbo local government presents 6.5 billion naira 2026 budget.
Away from the Hope newspaper from my end, and now to the Punch newspaper, where we have Nigeria not lacking in talents. And that was from Peter Obi.
And now to the Daily Post newspaper. NIMET forecast 3-day sunshine cloudiness from Monday today.
Still taking headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning, we have Army probes alleged military protection of drug peddlers in Lagos.
Still on the Daily Post newspaper, talking Kano 2027, mixed reactions as Kakanso Yusuf set for epic battle.
Still taking headlines from the Punch, where we have Makinde and Wike camp set for showdown at PDP headquarters today.
And now to the Nation newspaper. Senate reconvenes on Electoral Act 2022 amendment.
Yes, taking headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning, we have Canada-based Nigerian man faces trial over alleged age-motivated harassment.
On the Nation newspaper, alleged 8.7 billion naira fraud. New judge take over Malami to other trial.
Still taking headlines from the Punch newspaper, we have Electoral Act standoff. Senate calls for emergency plenary as protest looms.
Still on the Nation newspaper, Tinubu in talks with African commander, U.S. envoy.
Still taking headlines from the Punch, we have Ghana recalls envoy to Nigeria over alleged electoral malpractice.
And now I take a flight to the Punch newspaper. Why APC has not officially welcomed Fubara, says chairman.
Still taking headlines from Daily Post, we have Abia government approves adjusted minimum wage for teachers and SEMB staffs.
Kwara killings, Olawepo Ashim demands UN probes, and that is from the Punch newspaper.
Lastly, from Daily Post from my end, talking about the seat at home in Anambra State, we have go to market on Monday. Let your enterprise shine, and that was from Soludo.
Still on the Punch newspaper, Sun title can be withdrawn if abuse, says the AGF.
Yeah, and that is how far we can go taking headlines this morning. We'll go on a very short break. When we come back, we start with the stories for today. Welcome back. The program is In the Papers, your daily nugget for stories making major headlines in today's newspaper. And I have this one coming to you from the Hope newspaper, and it says, early rains not planting signal. Expert warns Ondo farmers. Now the details. Agricultural and climate experts have warned farmers in Ondo State against rushing to plant crops following the recent rainfall, describing it as temporary weather event and not even the official start of the 2026 farming season. The project manager, Climate Department of the Ondo State Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, Mr. Adewale Akejo, said the rainfall, though heavy and destructive in some areas, was typically of early season showers and should not be mistaken for the sustained rainfall. According to him, farmers should concentrate on clearing their farmlands and delay planting until March or April, when rainfall is expected to stabilize. He said that the rainfall has brought temporary cold weather and may usher in Harmattan conditions, noting that the phenomenon has been mild this year. He projected light rain may begin towards the end of March, with effective rainfall expected by April. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the pages of the Hope newspaper with this headline, early rainfall not planting signal. Expert warns Ondo farmers.
Still on the Hope newspaper, Odigbo local government presents 6.5 billion naira 2026 budget. And now to the details. The chairman of Odigbo local government area of Ondo State, Taiwo Adegoroye, has presented a proposed 6.5 billion naira budget for the 2026 fiscal year to the Odigbo Legislative House. The budget, tagged the Budget of Sustainable Growth and Development, prioritizes critical sectors such as road, drainage, construction, environmental sanitation, primary health care, educational support, youth and women empowerment, and community security. Speaking during the budget presentation, Adegoroye described the proposal as more than just figures on paper. He emphasized that the 2026 budgets allocate 47% to capital expenditure and 53% to recurrent expenditure, with a clear focus on prudent spending, transparency, and value for money. According to him, the revenue breakdown includes statutory revenue of 668 million naira, excess crude of 1 million naira, value added tax of 3 million naira, other federal account revenue of 458 million naira, 10% internal revenue from the state of 50 million naira, internal revenue from the local government of 250 million naira, and grant aids amounting to 72 million naira. He added that the proposed budget allocates funds to various sectors, including administration 36 million, agriculture 43.7 million, commerce 95 million, governance and technology 30 million, works and community projects 1.6 billion, education 46 million, health 50 million, environment 23 million, and community development 75 million naira. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Hope newspaper with the headline, Odigbo local government presents 6.5 billion naira 2026 budget.
Away from the Hope newspaper from my end, and now to the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have Kogi shuts markets and motor parks to flush out terrorists. Now the details. The Kogi state government has ordered the temporary closure of selected markets and motor parks across the parts of the states as part of intensified security operations aimed at flushing out terrorists, bandits, and other criminal elements. The decision was announced in a statement issued on Sunday by the Commissioner for Information and Communication, Kingsley Fanwo, and made available to Punch Metro. According to the statement, the closure affects selected markets and motor parks in part of the Kogi West Senatorial District and adjoined areas as security agencies intensified coordinated clearance operations. Fanwo said the move was designed to disrupt criminal activities. designed to disrupt criminal activities, logistics by restricting movement and cutting off access to food supplies, consumables, and other forms of supplies used by terrorists and their informants. He explained that the operations were being carried out in collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor and head of security agencies in the state. In Lokoja local government area, affected locations are named, and of course in Kaba local government area the closure applies to the market and motor parks in Ikebunu, Aba Mariam Isado, Ofere, Abadola, and Ayedei, Okeofin, Ayegunle Bunu, and of course Oke Bunko, Odoakpe Bunu, and Agbadu area. Also, it stated that in Kogi local government areas, other areas were also affected. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Kogi shuts markets, motor parks to flush out terrorists.
Still on the old newspaper on my end, Kwara residents flee to Niger after terrorist attack. And now to the details. Residents of the Woro community in Kaima local government area of Kwara State have fled to neighboring Niger State following a deadly terrorist attack that reportedly left over 176 people dead during the week. It was reported that the attack, which occurred on Tuesday evening and lasted until Wednesday morning, forced families to abandon their homes, escaping with little or no personal belongings as fear spread across community and adjoining villages. A viral video seen on Saturday shows displaced residents who took refuge in Wawa Town, Niger State, gathered by the roadside. Several vehicles believed to have conveyed them from Kwara State were seen parked nearby. In the footage, some of the displaced persons were seated in a plastic chair under the temporary tent, while others sat on the ground, many appearing exhausted as women and children clustered together. Confirming the development, the special assistant to the chairman of Kaima local government area, Zulkaran Musa, told newsmen that Woro community had been completely deserted following the attack. He said, and I quote, the community has been deserted as of Saturday. Residents have absconded to neighboring communities, including Niger State, Kaima Town, and some of those who escaped through the thick forest ended up in Barutan. Musa disclosed the security forces had since been deployed to the affected area to restore calm. Despite the military presence, Musa said many residents remained unwilling to return, citing fear of renewed attacks and uncertainty over their safety, as the entire households continue to seek refuge in host communities. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Oak newspaper with the headline: Kwara residents flee to Niger after terrorist attack.
Still taking stories from the Punch newspaper this morning, we have schools and markets opens as IBOP ends Monday seat at home. Now the details. The indigenous people of Biafra have announced the permanent cancellation of the Monday seat at home across the southeast following a directive from its leader Nnamdi Kanu with effect from February 9, 2026. The announcement was made by the group spokesperson Ima Powerful in a statement issued on Sunday, which said the order came directly from Kalu. The pro-Biafra group has declared a week sit at home in August 2021 to protest Kanu's rendition to Nigeria and subsequent incarceration, a move that often resulted in the shutdown of markets, schools, banks, and offices. Powerful said the new directive left no need, excuse, or justification for residents to remain indoors on Mondays, stressing that economy and social activities must fully resume. The group warned that any individual or group attempting to enforce sit at home would be acting against Kalu's direct order. Powerful also cautioned against what he described as a false flag operations aimed at creating fear and discouraging residents from resuming normal activities, urging people to remain calm and law-abiding. The group further warned governments against threatening or shutting down businesses, saying any renovation or reconstruction of markets must be carried out with the consent of stakeholders and with adequate alternative trading arrangement. According to the SBM intelligence report, the State Directive enforced in the Southeast from 2021 to 2025 was associated with at least 776 violent incidents and 776 deaths across the region. The other were enforced through intimidation, kidnapping, and targeted attacks on civilians who defiled them. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Schools and markets open as IWOP ends Monday sit at home.
Still on the Punch newspaper, why APC has not officially welcomed Fubara, says chairman. And now to the details. The All Progressive Congress has explained why the newly defected River State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, has not yet been officially welcomed into the party. Speaking with newsmen, APC Chairman Professor Netanwe Yuwada said the delay is part of the strategic plan to manage regional sensitivities, particularly in the northern state. Explaining party schedule of formal receptions, Yuwada said, and I quote, "We have Kano we are preparing for. When you're dealing in politics, we opted to clear the north first because Ramadan is coming and most of the people in the north are Muslims. We have a lot of communities in the north that are sensitive to issues of Ramadan. So we pleaded that we clear the northern governors who have come to the APC first before going to the south, where we do not have Ramadan as an issue." He emphasized that the delay has nothing to do with Fubara lacking authority. So there's our strategies, and also acknowledged the sensitivity of each community, that the reason we took the decision is not because of Siminalayi Fubara not having authority, he added. When he was asked about claims that Fubara appeared unable to assert control as the APC leader in River State, Yuwada challenged the premise of the question, demanding evidence of an internal complaint. If that story aligns with your interest, is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, "Why APC has not officially welcomed Fubara, says chairman."
Still taking stories from the Punch newspaper this morning, we have not all electricity meters are free, NERC clarifies. Not all electricity meters are free, NERC clarifies now the details. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has clarified that not all electricity meters are currently being installed across the country are free, as it sought to address growing confusion over the federal government's metering program and recent warning against illegal charge by electricity distribution companies. The chairman of NERC, Musili Hosseini, made the clarification on Saturday during a radio chat, explaining that meters provided under the government-funded initiative are free at the point of installation, while other options still exist for customers who are unable or unwilling to wait. Hosseini said the meters supplied under the Distribution Sector Recovery Program, known as DISREP, are fully funded by the federal government and must be provided to customers at no cost, but those who felt the deployments were taking too long could pay for the product under the MAP scheme. The DISCO have been rolling out. Of course, this will pay the money back, but the loan comes at a very minimal interest rate. So, though the tariff DISCOs are not going to charge customers because of the meter, they are to provide it free of charge to customers, and that if the minister and the DG of BPE actually meant that it is 100% free, Hosseini said. The stressed that electricity distribution companies are prohibited from demanding any payment from customers for meter deployed under the program, noting that the cost recovery mechanism does not involve upfront charges. Hosseini, however, explained that the meter access provider scheme remained in operation for customers who may not be able to wait for the rollout of the free meters due to timing and logistic constraint. The chairman warned consumers to be vigilant, adding that free meters can be easily identified. When the MAP meters gets to them, you can check whether it is a meter that is meant to be free, that is being provided after payment. If you look at the free meters carefully, there is an inscription after the name of the disco. You will see this rep, he explained. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline. Not all electricity meters are free, NERC clarifies.
Still on the Punch newspaper and still talking Kwara killings, Olawepo Ashim demands UN probe. And now to the details. A presidential aspirant on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, Dr. Gbenga Olawepo Ashim, has called for an international investigation into the recent killings in rural community, Kwara State, urging the United Nations Special Rapporteur of Human Rights to probe why intelligence warnings about the attack were allegedly ignored. In a statement made available to newsmen, the former presidential candidate said condolences alone were no longer sufficient in the face of such large-scale violence. He condemned the killings, which he described as grim illustration of Nigerians' worsening rural insecurity and the failure of the state protection. Olawepo Ashim said the attack, which reportedly claimed nearly 200 lives, exposed the flaws in the country's security architecture, particularly in the inability of the authorities to respond swiftly to distress caused for remote communities. He further stated, and I quote, "This killing are unprecedented in a scale and unmatched in barbarity. I offer my condolences to our community, but condolences is not enough this time around." The presidential aspirants called for an international investigation into the incident. He said, and I quote, "The killing in Woro have demonstrated how easy it is for any group of deranged men to take hundreds of lives without resistance." Olawepo Ashim said, questioning the absence of aerial intervention during the attack despite Nigerians' air power capabilities along the Wawa-Niwa-Busa axis, less than 15 minutes flight from Woro. He further argued that Nigeria had previously demonstrated rapid response capacity in military operations abroad, citing interventions in Sierra Leone and Liberia. He said the Nigerian army stopped killings in Sierra Leone and Liberia before. Why then can it not stop the slaughter of Nigerians in their own communities? He further highlighted reports that the attackers had issued a threat letter prior to the massacre, raising concern over the alleged withdrawal of deployed troops. He said Nigerians deserve to know who ordered the withdrawal and why. He said, warning that the repeated failures to protect rural communities could push residents towards self-help, vigilantism, and ethnic profiling. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Kwara killings, Olawepo Ashim demands UN probe.
You're still listening to us from iPower 102.7 FM, and the program is In the Papers, your daily nuggets for stories making major headlines in today's newspaper. We would go on a short break. When we come back, we continue the rest of the stories. Glad to have you back. You're still on to iPower 102.7 FM, and the program is In the Papers, your daily nugget for stories making major headlines in today's newspaper. You're having this one from the Punch newspapers, and it says Army probes alleged military protection of drug peddlers in Lagos. Now the details. The 81 Division of the Nigerian Army said on Sunday that it would investigate allegations that some military officers were shielding drug peddlers in the Apapa Igamo local council development area of Lagos. This followed accusation by the chairman of the LCDA, Jimo Sailu, who alleged that some top military officers were protecting illicit drug peddlers in the area. In a statement on Sunday, Jimo claimed that a place known as Gidon Drama in the Marine Beach community of Apapa, which is not too far from the Tego Army Barracks, served as a hub for illicit drug activities. Describing the area as an hideout for notorious criminals, The LCDA chairman said various criminal activities were being perpetrated there, including sales of illicit drugs and stolen goods. Speaking at the event marking the 70th anniversary of the Corona School Trust Council at St. Teresa Nursery and Primary School, Marine Beach, Jimo urged the state government and well-meaning organizations to acquire the area for construction of a secondary school. He also noted that the Corona School trusts Council for its initiative in investing in education and future of children. When contacted over the allegation made by the Council chairman, the spokesperson of the 81 Division of the Nigerian Army, Lieutenant Colonel Musa Yahaya, said the chairman needed to be specific about which which arm of the army he was referring to in order to aid investigation. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Army probes alleged military protection of drug peddlers in Lagos.
Still on the Punch newspaper, Sun title can be withdrawn if abuse, says AGF. And now to the details. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, has warned that the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria is a privilege that can be withdrawn if abused, cautioning that it must not be treated as a license for misconduct. Fagbemi made the statement in Lagos on recently at the dinner organized by the body of Senior Advocates of Nigeria to mark the 50th anniversary of the SAN rank. In a statement issued by the Special Advisor to the President, Communication and Publicity in the Office of the AGF and Minister of Justice, Kamuruddin Ogundele, Fagbemi said some holders of the prestigious rank wrongly believed it was inalienable, stressing that such thinking was erroneous under existing regulation. He said, and I quote, "Those are those among who appear to regard the rank as a license for misconduct and indiscipline under the mistaken belief that once conferred, it is inalienable. That, of course, is not correct. The rank is a privilege. Like all privileges, it can be withdrawn if the recipient denigrates or leaves below the standards of the privilege," the AGF said. He further added that the Legal Practitioner Privilege Committee had made it clear that the rank could be withdrawn if the recipient lived below its standard. The AGF, who is also the chairman of Boston, said enforcing discipline should begin with the body rather than being left entirely to the external regulatory bodies. He further cautioned junior lawyers against showing disrespect to the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, saying SANs must be accorded respect befitting their exalted positions, while urging SANs to uphold ethics and act in ways that preserve the dignity of the rank. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, "SAN title can be withdrawn if abused," says the AGF.
Yes, away from that and straight to Daily Post, where we have Abia government approved adjusted minimum wage for teachers and SEMB staffs. Now the details. The Abia state government has approved the implementation of an adjusted minimum wage for teachers and staff of the State Education Management Board as part of effort to improve their welfare. The Special Advisor to Governor Alex Oti on Basic and Secondary Education, Kenechukwu Onwoso, disclosed this in a statement issued on Sunday in Umuahia, the state capital. He explained that the move reflects the administration's commitment to ensuring that education workers receive their rightful entitlement without delay, adding that steps are being taken to address their outstanding benefits. According to him, the government is making progress in processing leave allowances for teachers and the SEMB personnel, while arrangements are ongoing to settle payment for educators whose service were previously extended but later disrupted due to administrative challenges. Onwose praised Governor Oti for prioritizing the education sector and maintaining a consistent focus on the welfare of teachers and school administrators across the state. He recalled that the state had approved the implementation of the revised minimum wage in 2023 in line with the in line with federal guidelines, though some workers experienced delay in salary adjustments and allowance. The latest approval, is said, is aimed at clearing pending entitlements and ensuring full compliance with the updated wage structure for education personnel in Abia State. For details of that story, see Daily Post newspaper this morning with this headline: Abia government approves adjusted minimum wage for teachers and SENB staffs.
Still on the Punch newspaper, federal government seeks coordinated economic policies as NEC convene. And now to the details. The Vice President Kashim Shettima will preside over a two-day National Economic Council conference aimed at strengthening economic coordination and accelerating inclusive growth across Nigeria's 36 states. The conference, scheduled for February 9 and 10 today and tomorrow, will be held at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa, Abuja. President Bola Tinubu will serve as the special guest of honor, while governors and key national stakeholders are expected to attend. The Senior Special Assistant to the Vice President on Media and Communication, Mr. Stanley Nkwocha, disclosed this in a statement recently titled VP Shettima to chair National Economic Council Conference to drive inclusive growth. According to the statement, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, was convening the conference under the theme Delivering Inclusive Growth and Sustainable Development, the renewed Hope National Development Plan. The conference is expected to provide policy direction for states as they align with the federal government's long-term economic agenda. The Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning and Secretary of the NEC, Dr. Deborah Odo, said the conference would address key macroeconomic priorities. Deliberations will center on fiscal coordinations, investment mobilization, and shared development strategies between federal and state government. Other senior government officials, development partners, and private sector leaders are expected to participate. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline: Federal Government seeks coordinated economic policies as NEC convenes.
Away from Daily Post from my end and now to the Nation's newspaper, where we have Ogun to build 1 billion naira AI powered digital classroom at RSS, says Abiodun. Now the details. The Ogun State government is building a 900-seater artificial intelligence powered digital classroom complex valued at 1 billion naira at Remos Secondary School, Shagamu, as part of effort to deepen technology-driven education. Governor Dapo Abiodun said this during the school's 80th anniversary celebration held on the school premises. He described the ultra-modern facility as a major investment aimed at equipping students for the demand of the 21st century knowledge economy. The governor said the digital classroom was part of a broader Smarter Learning initiative within the school, which included a resource center and a fully equipped robotic laboratory designed to promote innovation, creativity, and advanced digital skills. Abiodun said the state government has remodeled the school's science laboratory, bringing them up to modern standard and equipping them with contemporary instructional tools to create safe and inspiring learning environment. He added that the boys and girls hostel had been rehabilitated to enhance students' comfort, safety, and overall welfare. Describing Remo Secondary School as heritage institution, Abiodun said the anniversary celebration represented more than the marking of years, but the preservation of a living legacy. He hailed the school's old students for preserving its history and supporting its development, noting that their contribution reflected collective responsibility towards sustaining excellence. Abiodun also who noted that the RSS have been designated as one of the state flagship schools, urged students to embrace learning with passion, uphold integrity, and strive to live up to the legacy of excellence established by previous generations. For details of that story, See the nation's newspaper with this headline: Ogun to build 1 billion AI powered digital classroom at RSS, says Abiodun.
Still on the Daily Post newspaper, talking Kano 2027. Mixed reactions as Kwankaso Yusuf set for epic battle. And now to the details. The new Nigerian People's Party (NNPP) last month lost the only state they controlled to the All Progressive Congress (APC) after Governor Abba Yusuf joined numerous other state governors seeking survival ahead of the 2027 general election. Recent reports that Kano recently faced biggest political defection as Governor Yusuf parted ways with Dr. Rabiu Kwankwaso and aligned himself with Kwankwaso's longtime rival, or what some people have called political enemies at the like Ganduje. For NNPP loyalists, the governor chose shelter over loyalty, power over pedigree, and survival over structure. There have also been questions about Kwankwaso being overbearing, a reason attributed to a similar decision from Ganduje when he was governor. In his letter of resignation from the party that brought him to power, Yusuf said he could no longer stay in the NNPP because of persistent internal crises, unresolved leadership disputes at state and national levels, prolonged court cases involving party leadership, deep division, and disenfranchisement of members. I believe that the cracks in the party had become irreconcilable, adding that he staying in the party would no longer serve the best interest of the Kano state. Kakanso, a former Minister of Defense, former governor, and leader of the Kwankwasiya group and the NNPP, could not hide tears over Yusuf's defection. The former governor described recently the day Abba Yusuf, also known as Abba Gida, formally joined APC, as one that should be marked in the world as a day of betrayal. Speaking at the governor's defection, the 2023 presidential candidate of the NNPP said today, as the leader of the movement, I declared the 23rd of January as a betrayal day. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Mixed reactions as Kankasto Yusuf set for epic battle.
You're still listening to us from iPower 102.7 FM, and the program is In the Papers, your daily nugget for stories making major headlines in today's newspaper. We would go on a short break. When we come back, we continue the rest of the stories. Glad to have you join us. You're still on to In the Papers, coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. Yes, we have the story coming to us from the nation's newspaper this morning. It says, Fire me a gift to Ekiti, says Oyebanji. Now the details. Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji has congratulated former Governor Dr. Kayode Fayemi on his 61st birthday, describing him as a rare gift to Ekiti, Nigeria, and the global community. Governor Oyebanji, in a statement yesterday by his special advisor on media, Yinka Oyebode, hailed Dr. Fayemi as for his immense contributions to the growth and development of Ekiti State, which, according to him, had made the state an enviable subnational entity in Nigeria and beyond. The governor expressed gratitude to God for sparing Fayemi's life to witness another birthday in good health and sound mind, and for giving him a prominent place in the quest for a greater Ekiti in his private capacity as a respected statesman. Oyebanji said Fayemi was a beneficiary to the immense grace of God, judging by the great achievement God had helped him to attain in life at a relatively young age. He noted that history would be kind to Dr. Fayemi, who was also a former chairman of the Nigerian Government's Forum, NGF, for using public office as a platform for selfless service to mankind at the state, national, and continental global levels. For details of that story, see the nation's newspaper with this headline, Fire me a gift to Ekiti, says Oyebanji.
Still on the Nation newspaper, Tinubu in talks with AFRICOM commander, U.S. envoy, and now to the details. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has hosted a high-level delegation from the United States U.S. African Command, AFRICOM, at the State House, Abuja. The delegation was led by AFRICOM Commander General Dagvin Anderson. The President's Special Assistant on Social Media, Dada Olusegun, announced the visit, which had in attendance top security leadership in a post on his ex handle. According to Olusegun's post, National Security Advisor NSA Malam Nuhu Ribadu and service chiefs joined the President to receive General Anderson, members of the team, and the charge the affairs of the U.S. Embassy to Nigeria, Mr. Keith Ephraim. In the U.S. team were the charged affairs Mr. Keith Ephraim, African Commander General Dagvin Anderson, Commander Sergeant Major Garrick M. Banfield, who is the command and senior enlisted leader of AFRICOM, and the African Senior Foreign Policy Advisor Ambassador Peter Vrooman. On the Nigerian side, where NSA Ribadu Defense Minister General Christopher Musa, Chief of Defense Staff CDC General Olufemi Oluyede, Chief of Army Staff COAS Lieutenant General Y.D. Shaibu, Chief of Defense Staff Lieutenant General Emmanuel Undainde, National Intelligence Agency NIA Director General Mohammed, and the Department of State Service DSS Director General Tosin Ajayi. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Nation newspaper with the headline Tinubu in talks with AFRICOM Commander U.S. Envoy.
You're still on to In the Papers, coming to you from iPower 102.7 FM. We have the story coming to us from Daily Post newspaper this morning, and it says about Bauchi Governor sacks Commissioner reshuffles cabinet. Now the details. Bauchi State Governor Senator Bala Muhammad has sacked the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Alhaji Ibrahim Gambo Galadima. The decision, which take immediate effect, was contained in a statement issued on Monday by the Governor's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity. According to the statement, the decision is part of the administration's resolve to periodically reshuffle its cabinet in order to inject fresh ideas, strengthening governance, and reposition the government for improved service delivery across the state. Governor Mohammed appreciated Galadima for his service to the state and wished him success in his future endeavors. He also reassured the people of Bauchi State for his administration's continued commitment to peace, security, and good governance. The statement added that a replacement would be announced in due course. For details of that story, see Daily Post newspaper with this headline: Bauchi Governor sacks Commissioner reshuffle cabinet.
Still on the Nation newspaper, Senate reconvenes on Electoral Act 2022 amendment. And now to the details. The Senate will reconvene tomorrow to consider the Electoral Act 2022 amendment bill. Yesterday's notice of reconvening issued by the Clerk of Senate, Emmanuel Odor, raised the hope of critics of the Senate passed version of the bill that there might be reconsideration of some contentious provisions. The Senate retained the Electoral Act 2022 provision on the mode of transmission of results, contrary to the expectation of some civil society organizations, interest groups, and opposition political party, which had insisted that results transmission from polling units should be done in real time using technology. The Senate ruled out real-time transfer of results, given the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) the latitude to decide the mode of transmission. Yesterday, the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, and Nigerian Labour Congress urged the Senate to embrace real-time results transmission for the 2027 election. The Senate last week, after passing the amendment bill, went on recess from plenary to enable its committee to work on the 2026 budget. The intention is to make it possible for the National Assembly to meet the proposed March 19 passage date for the budget. At the weekend, Senate President Godswill Akpabio said that there was no going back on the Senate position on transmission of result. Although announcing the record to recall the senators for tomorrow's session, said the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has directed the reconvening of plenary on the emergency sitting on Tuesday, February 10, 2026. It was gathered that the session is to enable the Senate to approve the proceedings of its session on bill. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Nation newspaper with the headline Senate reconvenes on Electoral Act 2022 amendment.
Still taking stories from Daily Post newspaper, talking insecurity. We have removal from office and resignation only option for failure to protect Nigerians. Now the details. The Supreme Council of Sharia in Nigeria, SCSN, has condemned what it described as a renewed wave of senseless killing, mass violence, kidnapping, and widespread insecurity across the country, particularly in northern Nigeria, warning that the situation reflects a frightening deterioration of national security. In a statement signed by its Secretary General Nafiu Baba Ahmed and issued on Sunday, the Council expressed deep anguish over the killing of more than 200 people in the Woro village, Kaima local government area of Kwara State, where it said terrorists carried out a horrific act of carnage, killing women and children, razing homes, and wiping out entire families. It said where officials failed to protect citizens, both Islamic ethics and democratic norm demand accountability, including appropriate sanction, removal from office, or honorable resignation. According to a statement, the Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria hereby expressed its deepest anguish over and condemnation over the renewed wave of senseless killing, mass violence, kidnapping, and widespread insecurity afflicting many parts of Nigeria. According to the council, the attack in Wuro alongside recent incidents in Kwara, Katsina, Kaduna, Zamfara, Borno, and other parts of the country underscores a frightening deterioration of the national security situation and a growing disregard for sanity of human life. The SCSN stressed that Islamic place a high value on human life, describing the killing of innocent persons as one of the gravest crimes. It also condemns attack on innocent citizens, Muslims and Christians alike, whether through banditry, terrorism, communal violence, or any other form of criminality, warning that the persistence of such atrocities, despite repeated assurance by authorities, reflects a disturbing failure of governance and security architecture. For details of that story, see Daily Post newspaper with this headline: Removal from office and resignation, only option for failure to protect Nigerians, says SCSN.
And now, still on the Nation newspaper, talking alleged 8.7 billion naira fraud. New judge takes over Malami to alleged trial. And now to the details. The alleged 8.7 billion naira money laundering case involving ex-Attorney General of the Federation AGF Abubakar Malami SAN and two others, and asset forfeiture case involving him, have now been reassigned to a new judge. Late last year, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) instituted the money laundering case against Malami, his son Abdulaziz, and a lady said to be an employee of the Rahmaniya Properties Limited, a firm allegedly linked to former Minister Aja Bashir Asabe. In the FCC asset forfeiture case against Malami, the agency is targeting about 57 properties the ex-AGF allegedly acquired unlawfully. Malami Abdulaziz and Aja Asabe were arraigned on December 30 last year on a 16-count charge before Justice Emeka Nwite, who was then sitting as a vacation judge at the Abuja Division of the Federal High Court. On January 6, Justice Nwite also heard and granted an ex parte motion filed by the FCC for the interim forfeiture of the 57 properties Malami allegedly acquired unlawfully. In line with the court's tradition, Justice Nwite, at the conclusion of the court's vacation, returned both cases to the court's chief judge for reassignment to new judges. The nation learned that both cases have been assigned to Justice Obiora Eguatu, who has since scheduled them for hearing. It is further that the asset forfeiture case has been scheduled for February 12, while one relating to alleged money laundering has been fixed for February 16 for arraignment. In charge, the EFCC is among other claiming that Malami and his two co-defendants conspired to disguise the origin of funds estimated at 8.7 billion naira, acquire property indirectly and retain sums they allegedly knew were proceeds of unlawful activity in violation of the Money Laundering Prohibition and Prevention Act of 2011 as amended and 2022. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Nation newspaper with the headline Alleged 8.7 billion naira fraud, new judge takes over Malami to other trial.
A quick look at the Guardian newspaper where we have electoral reforms. Frank petitions Trump over 2027 polls. Now the details. The former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressive Congress and political activist Comrade Timmy Frank has petitioned United States President Donald Trump, warning that Nigerian democracy is under serious threat and could descend into chaos if elect plan to manipulate the 2027 general elections are not altered. In an open letter dated February 7, 2026, Frank accused the ruling All Progressive Party and the leadership of the National Assembly of plotting to entrench a one-party authoritarian system, describing the alleged agenda as political genocide against Nigerians. He called on Trump and the international communities to intervene, warning that failure to act could lead to unrest, violent conflict, and a breakdown of law and order. He accused the Senate leadership of deliberately undermining electoral reforms meant to curb fraud, alleging that a key provision of the Electoral Act 2022 backed. He claimed that by over 80% of Nigerians were being systematically removed from facilitate rigging. Frank argued that the same provision was ignored during the 2023 general elections, which he described as deeply flawed and is now being dismantled again to consolidate power. The former APC spokesperson also criticized the outcome of the 2023 presidential elections, citing turnout figure and observers' reports to question credibility of the process. For details of that story, see the Guardian newspaper with this headline: Electoral reforms, Frank petitions Trump over 2027 polls.
And back to the Daily Post newspaper. NIMET forecast 3-day sunshine cloudiness from Monday. And now to the details. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has forecast cloudiness and sunshine from Monday to Wednesday across the country. NIMET Weather Outlook released on Sunday in Abuja predicted sunny and cloudy skies over the northern region throughout the forecast period. The agency anticipated sunny and cloud skies over the region throughout the forecast period. NIMET envisaged sunny skies over the southern region, with patches of cloud over the region and chances of isolated thunderstorm accompanied with light rains over part of Bayelsa River's Akwa Ibom and Cross River State later in the day. According to the agency, for Tuesday, sunny and hazy skies are anticipated over the northern and central regions during the forecast period, while sunny skies with patches of clouds are anticipated at the southern region. It added that there are chances of thunderstorm with light rains over parts of Ogun, Lagos, Rivers, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River State during the morning hours. Later in the day, NIMET added thunderstorms are expected over parts of Ondo, Ogun, Imo, Delta State, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Rivers, and Bayelsa State. The agency predicted sunny and hazy skies over the northern region on Wednesday during the morning hours, with dust haze over the region during the afternoon and evening period. It forecast sunny and hazy skies over the central region during the forecast period. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline NIMET forecast 3-day sunshine cloudiness from Monday.
Yes, that's how far we can go this morning on the program In the Papers, your daily nugget for stories making major headlines in today's newspaper. We hope we've been able to keep you informed and up to date about happenings in Nigeria and beyond. Until we come your way again, same time, same station, we implore you to please keep it locked to iPower 102.7 FM as we have a list of endless programs for your entertaining and informative purposes. I remain Florence E. Barima, and with me on this ride was
Inioluwa Adekoya.
many thanks for listening. Good morning.
Good morning.